We've been talking about how we get the best performance out of our teams. Today, we're going to look at maximizing team performance through our communication. We do that using the flywheel. We look at the five key components of high performing teams, which are communication, relationship, alignment, execution, and capacity. And those all work like a flywheel, turning in unison. But if one of those is out of sync, all of the others begin to turn more slowly with friction. Communication is a fundamental of high performing teams. If you look back at the importance of fundamentals through the eyes of Vince Lombardi, the famous football coach, he started every season with his professional football players by saying, "Gentlemen, this is a football." Likewise, as we begin to coach our teams, we need to get back to the fundamentals. Communication is about knowing yourself and knowing the personalities on your team so that you know how to communicate expectations, give feedback and collaborate, support and challenge each individual on your team in the most effective way. Communication is really transmitting and receiving. It's like a tennis match. I hit the ball, you hit it back to me. We send a message to others, and they receive that message and respond based on what they heard. The question is, did they accurately receive what I sent? If you've ever played the game of telephone as a kid, you know how garbled your original message can be by the time others hear it and it gets to the end of the line. People hear what they expect to hear based on past interactions, context, tone, as well as what their own desired outcomes are for that communication. Unclear communication gives false expectations and creates a lot of confusion for people. So you need to know your communication tendencies. We all have tendencies, both healthy and unhealthy. So it's important to know your own tendencies and how you communicate. You may tend to bulldoze over others and dismiss their input, or maybe you avoid difficult conversations. Maybe your tone sounds unintentionally harsh or critical. It's not unusual for others to perceive something very different than what you intended or wanted to communicate. But when you can identify a tendency and lead yourself to a more effective action and outcome, it improves your communication. So tailor your communication to the audience. It's equally as important to know how each of your people are hardwired and their communication tendencies. Most people want to know that you see them as something more than a task monster. You see them as a human being before a human doing. Leaders need to value the diverse perspectives within the team and then build the bridge to connect all of those things to one common objective. It means you're able to engage in a give and take dialogue. You have to be able to adjust the level of support and challenge to the unique makeup of each individual on your team. So think about it. How would you rate your team communication? And the harder question is, how would your team rate it? If you're brave enough, ask them.